if it wasn't for the mahazin, the mayor, everybody, every single person, even my sister Nahla, who runs an organization I've known for almost 20 years. These are women in our community that have opened doors and told us never to be shy about who we are and to always, always be proud of our Arab roots. And thank you so much. So every kind of, especially my Palestinian events, you always want to know, min wain dikti, min wain dikti. It's true. إني من بيت عور الفوكة مش تحت الفوكة. Abuy was from Beit Hamida. I know there's got the blend and you guys are competitive. I know. It's like who can wear the more of that? It's true. But so in my family, we're so strong Palestinian women. And those that know Allah Hamasiti Shama, some cousins are here. More and more of my family now that I'm in Congress. Everybody's my cousin. But who I said, he is. He really is. But Siti Shama, if you knew her, Bakat Kawiya. Oh my God, mashallah. Bakatش تقرأ عربي ولا تحكي عربي ولا تكتب عربي ولا تقرأ عربي. بس المهم بكت يعني قوية وحاجة كلها لا. Somebody say no to her. She's like, get out of my way. I'm Jad. Ness baka half minha. Like she would walk in a room and they're like, after Shama came, little kids would run the other way. And Jad, if you ask anybody, like so many people at home in Michigan, they always know me as Hi Sita Bakat Shama. And then in my family, if you knew Siti Shama, it's like, oh Rashida, she's Kiva my Ammi Adnan. He constantly, for me, cursing at the president and all this stuff. He's so upset. He goes, well, Zay in me. And I go, but Zay Siti Shama, but with degrees. So now it's like, it's more like, even more powerful. But right now, I say to my colleagues, I've said it the last 2 weeks, my first week there, I tell them I have never felt more Palestinian than I do in Congress. In Detroit, they honestly see me as Rashida, the one who blocks the billionaires' trucks and takes on corporate polluters and sues the state on unemployment. I take on these big justice issues. They just know me as Rashida or Rosita. They call me all kinds of things. But Mohem, even me being Palestinian, Muslim, all these things, these labels, they don't see me that way. But in Congress, and I say this, yes, I'm proud to be Palestinian, but I've never felt so much that's what people only see. And so it's been very proud moments, but it's also been very hard for people to see beyond that. And that is something that I want all of us to talk about a little bit today. But my hope is that my colleagues in Congress see the value of having a colleague with the living grandmother in the West Bank, in the occupied territories. Understanding what that means. This is an opportunity they cannot pass by. They have to be able to see me and hear me, and they have to be able to understand the human impact of my grandmother and my living family relatives in the West Bank. And I tell them, now is the opportunity to open up these doors to allow me to, in this space, to be able to talk about these issues. And no one can say no to that. But they can try to target me and try to belittle the issues that I want to work on. I am the eldest of 14. How many of you knew that? Yes, I have, mashallah. I have 7 younger brothers, 6 younger sisters. I've been taking care of people all my life. All my life. I am more, mashallah, thank you. Mashallah, thank you. I have a voting block. I have a voting block. And when I ran for office the first time, I remember a boy, he goes to me, Baba, what are you crazy after 9/11? And Emmy, I only had one baby, I had Adam. Emmy بتقول لي Mama, معناتها بدك تجيبي أولاد? She's like, are you not going to have any more kids? I'm like, oh my God, Mama, I'm running for state representative. ممثلة ولاية، شو أنا شو بعمل فيه؟ ستي شمعة شو ستي دايما مشغولة شو بتعملي؟ كلها ممثلة ولاية، وكلها شو ممثلة ولاية؟ شو هذا؟ وكلها بعرفش ممثلة ولاية شو عرفني؟ And then she goes to me. لا I'm just شو بتعملي؟ أنت متجوزة؟ I tell her all these things. I'm married, I got kids, and then I go to her ستي أنا محامية. ما شاء الله محامية. It's like I can't wait. It's so interesting, but it's amazing that the humor that I have with my family members. They keep me rooted along. But even when I ran, I would tell people, I would door knock. I would say, my name is Rashida Tlaib. I'm the eldest of 14. I know what it means to have challenges in your life, and for people to be able to hear those challenges and have a desire to help. And they go to me, oh, that's good. So where do you live? What do you do? All of these other things. And then I tell them about the things that I've done, and they don't care. They don't care that they can't pronounce my name. They don't care about my ethnicity or that I'm Muslim. Even to this day, they're like, yeah, our state representative, I think she's Pakistani. I don't know what she is. But what I love is that even now, most of my residents who defend me to the national media, because the Washington Post came to my district and they tried to think that they were going to like somehow find stuff on me. I was like, I want to show you Detroit. Nobody's going to have my back as much as Detroit will. And I can tell you from the Lyft driver, from the Washington Post guy told me the Lyft driver was like, knew your family. I was like, mm-hmm. And then they were like, then I got another driver, he knew it's like your family's everywhere. I said, well, when my residents get me, they get my whole family. My sister, she counsels victims of sexual assault survivors, domestic violence. My brother Ibrahim, he literally, all he does is work as a veteran center, helping homeless vets do the Earn and Learn program and help them find a job. My other brother, Mashallah Rashid, there's a Rashid and a Rashida. Rashid, all he does is this access acts, they call it, and he does these youth engagement. And I remember when I was running for office the first time, my brother Ibrahim left his job, volunteered to run my campaign, drove me crazy. And then we door knocked, I think, 10,000 doors, raised a little bit, like $70,000, nothing. Nobody thought I could win, and I won. And mashallah became the first Muslim I was And then what is amazing, like I kept winning, and then the third time they redistricted me, right? Another state representative. They said, oh, no way, she's going to be here. She's African American, whatever. I outworked the hate, the bias, everything. I went door to door and I didn't stop. People knew that I wasn't going to waver, that I wasn't going to sell them out. And we won that last term. And then years later, ran for state senate and everything. When I thought about running for Congress, I became high, not because of my background, but more because, oh my God, how am I going to get to 700,000 people? That's how much you had, 700,000 people. And how am I going to raise the money? Because people run for Congress, they start a year out. We started in February, I believe. Literally within 6 months before the primary, and I have to win the primary. We don't have runoffs. In California, they have runoffs. If I win in the primary, halas, I win. So I had 6 other Democrats. We door knocked 55,000 doors. Akhoy Rashid, when he found out I was tied for first place, Hakali, when you need to tie for first place, I said, you got this. I said, Rashid, how have I got this? You think it's easy? I have to raise all this money. He goes, yeah, Rashid, you got it. And then he wins. He went and got a golf cart. This is Palestinian style. Got a golf cart. Rashida in Ohio. I'm Craigslist, I don't know where he got it. And then he goes, okay, give me a list. I gave him a list of 4,400 people. He got in the cart, there's pictures on my Facebook. He literally, all these like Arab kids were like in the back of the thing. He would get into one block. Think of a cul-de-sac in a subdivision. He would stop the car and they would jump out of the golf cart and they would go door to door. And it was great. Even on the day of the election, I was in one brother's golf cart won the election. And I won by 900 votes only, mashallah. And I think about the moment when I was running, I had decided, and Hussein had heard me say this, that I was going to wear my Palestinian thobe. And people at first were like, oh yeah, okay, nothing. They really didn't think anything of it. And I was like, no, I told my Yama, I said, Yama, did they throw it? She goes, okay, Mama, did they get a himar? I said, yeah. My mom doesn't, she's thinking, oh, it's no big deal. And my mom was like, I'm not sure, full. I said, I know, Mama, but it's a big deal. And I didn't know it was going to be this big of a deal. I'm Jen. I could have never imagined. I just knew I was going to wear it. And so as I was going, I was telling people, do you know what was interesting? And it was because out of love. But some of the older kind of Palestinian, supporters were like, Rashida, maybe not. Don't wear it. Because الناس لازم يشوفوش أماكنية. I'm just, no, it's true. Because I want the young women and I want the young children to know this. Our parents want us to be so proud of our heritage. You know this. My dad used to make me do the deck, everything. Because he wanted me to not forget where I came from. And I want you to notice that there's these moments that your parents are so scared for you that they tell you. So these elders in our community were telling me, please, I don't know, maybe it's not a good idea, Rashida. And I said, sure, I'm a good deal. It's not a big deal. And I said, I'm going to wear it. And it was this young woman named Susan Daraj. I got it. She decided to say, tweet your thobe. And it became this huge phenomenon. And I wrote why I wanted to wear it in Elle magazine. And they asked me, they said, thobe, as soon as I put it up there, it went so viral, so quickly. And it was crazy because I had just taken the picture to send it to the frequent, because they were like, what are you wearing? I said, this thobe my mom made. She said, oh, you send it to us. And it was interesting because my mom was like, why is everybody asking me the thobe? And I said, Mama, I don't know, it's a big deal. And so when I walked in there, and I saw the things online, I was like, wow. From a little girl that didn't speak English when I started school. I was born here, but as being the eldest, my mom, went up to 8th grade education. She didn't speak English when she came here. She was pregnant with me on the plane from Palestine to America. And I remember the little girl sitting there watching her at the lamp, and she used to sit in the corner, not on a chair, on the floor, up against the wall, and she used to hide it. She would put one leg up and she would hide it. I don't want to cry because I cry easily, but she just used to I remember watching her just sewing and sewing. And I told her, Mama, why didn't you go continue 8th grade? She goes, I had to make money. I had to go work as a khayata. When I had to drop out of school at 8th grade because I had to go work in a tailor place, in khayata. And wearing the thobe meant to me to show her I can be successful. I can learn all of these things and still stay very rooted. And I have to tell you, even seeing the young girls across the world wearing the thobes, it was beautiful. And I wanted people to feel that, somebody said to me, I want them to remind them over and over again, I didn't have to change anything about me. When I went to the doors, where are you from, whatever, are you biracial, what are you? I said, I'm Palestinian. Oh, I said, yeah. I was like, I have a living grandmother actually in Ramallah. Where's that at? Talk to them, no big deal. And then they were like, wait, aren't you the girl that took on the Koch brothers when they done the waste on the riverfront? I said, yep. I said, oh, you're the Koch girl. I was like, no, don't say that, it sounds really bad. But as I went door to door, talking to people about who I am, I never shied away of even trying to change my name or change how I was approaching this or hide that I was about freeing Palestine or that I was against occupation or that I was against oppression of people. I didn't hide any of that. And I made sure that I always reminded my residents how it connected so much to the continued Black oppression in our country. The fact that I grew up in the most beautiful blackest city in the country, Detroit. I don't live in Germany now, I live in Detroit. I'm dead. And every corner is a reminder of the civil rights movement. I had teachers teaching me, this is a neighborhood that I couldn't live in because of the color of my skin. I couldn't work there. You couldn't, when you had integrated marriages, you couldn't. And to this day, I was telling one of my colleagues, I have 2 cousins who are married to Israelis, Russian Jews. Their marriages, I think, until recently wasn't even recognized. Again, so much of what I learned growing up from my, African American mothers in Detroit is something that I so much connect with what's happening to my family in Palestine. And it only awakened when I was 12 years old and I saw the 2 lines. I saw the different color license plates. People on one side of the sidewalk. Remembering going in the Bahar, literally going in the Bahar with my cousins, and all the people walking out like we had some disease, like getting out of the water. And remembering, oh my God, this is exactly what happened to black people in our country. Being felt less than and unequal is so painful. And I always tell people when I talk about Palestine, like, it's out of love for my city. Who tells me after I won, I see, she woke up at Haram and all these media were in her house. She's like, and it's like Rashida Tlaib. And she goes, okay, خلاص, حل Palestine. I was like, Cindy! I told Cindy Mufti, I was like, it takes a lot more to free Palestine, Cindy. She's like, okay, that's it, when Palestine's gonna be free. I said, no, it takes a lot of work to humanize you, to humanize my cousins, my uncles, all of the people that I love so dearly in Palestine. And it was really wonderful. When I told her, I said, Cindy, I'm gonna bring a delegation to Palestine, some of the other Congress members. She was, yalla, waqtish jay, beautiful. And I said, Cindy, and I was like, and I told my colleagues, I have a lot of colleagues that are very interested. I said, listen, if you don't go to my grandmother's house so she can cook, I'd be really in trouble. Like, we have to go to her house. And so we're gonna do a really great, what I call community conversation with people in Beit Foka and Beit Teta, I'll invite them, and bring people together to talk about what it means. I mean, just the daily lives, not policy, daily life of impact. My cousin Marad started Bikes for Palestine. And I love what he's been able to do, but even talking about that and how that relates to the fact that everywhere they go, they hit a wall, right? Everywhere they go, they're disconnected from the rest of the communities. And as I continue my activism, I know I'm never going to be perfect. I am one of you, though. Even when I curse at the president, even when I'm not going to be your polished, perfect, this beautifully articulate, got this all down, using these big words. The doctor had a beautiful word, like I can't even pronounce that, really. I am a falaha girl from Southwest Detroit that never will ever be able to get away from all of that. And it's true, it's just who I am. But I can tell you this. As I think about my yama and as I advocate and as I fight, my mother, who's so compassionate, is around. Like, she sees somebody asking for money in the corner, her heart melts and she goes, Haram, I wonder what happened to them. That woman is so much as part of who I am. And when I see her, after Trump won, going to the supermarket, and the man yelling at her, take it off, her hijab, I would get so scared, and I said to Mama, oh my God, Yama shukatila, because I know my mother. She thinks Haram, he doesn't know. That's how my mother is. They just don't know, Mama. We gotta tell them. I was like, oh my God, Yama shukatila. Because I know she said something to him. She goes, listen, sir, you don't understand. Jesus was born in my country. So in 2016, Trump was running for office. He came to Detroit. Actually, got Detroit, less than a mile away. Me and 12 other women, 12 other women, came and we asked him, we got interrupted his speech. One got up and said, I'm a union member, I want to know what you think of labor rights. I want to know what you think about sexual harassment in the workplace, and so forth. And then I was like number 7. I get up and I say, have you ever read the Constitution? You read the Constitution, and they're dragging me out. My brother, Rashid calls me, he goes, Sid, did you just get, your mom's crying? She thinks you got arrested. And I was like, what did you tell her? And he goes, I don't know. I said, are you arrested? I said, how am I arrested? I'm answering my cell phone. And then he goes, I don't know, she's really upset. And so I call her after a couple hours, oh, your mom. I said, Yumma, it's the most American thing I can do. I have to demand this man reads the Constitution. She goes, I said, Mama, no. So Islam, she goes to pray with her girlfriends on Friday. And صاحبتها جاية عليها بتقول ما شاء الله بنتي إن شاء الله ما شاء الله الله يشفيها يا رب مقواها والله. So my mom calls me. She goes, oh, I said, yes, your mom. You still mad? She goes, Allah, your mom's so proud of you. Now you're simply proud of me? She goes to me, no, I'm not because they look at my friend or how interested in she bothers me. والله هناك في فلسطين وراح بالتحية يا ماما وكل ما احنا مش في فلسطين احنا في امريكا and احنا لازم نوري الناس في فلسطين how you have to fight and they're the reason we fight. يعني احنا نضل ساكتين يا ماما مش لازم نضل ساكتين. شو خلص انتوا احكوا انا بضل بحالي يعني ما بديش حدا يعاقبني. I was like, okay, Mama. And I'll tell you, my mother from this day, even though I'm a Congresswoman, she goes to me, بكيكي عقليتيهم شفتك يا ماما. بقول لها I go, what did I do? Was it good? She goes, لبستي حمرا هو ليش لبستي حمرا؟ And I was like, Mama, I'm a Congresswoman. I just want my Palestinian sisters to know it doesn't go away. I was like, yeah, Mama, I was talking about petroleum coke getting dumped on the river. She goes, I know, but لبستي حمرا your mom. I said, okay, Mama, next time I won't. I was like, okay, bye-bye. She was the other. And so it's all of these things that I just want you to know I am really truly one of you. And it just so happens now I'm a Congress member. And I want you to remember that I will carry you every single day. Every single day. I will promise you that I will be unwavering. I'm not going to be scared. I speak up all the time. I have yelled Free Palestine so many times after I become a Congresswoman. I have talked about my city in spaces that people never even heard the word city before, and I tell them that means grandmother, and let me tell you about my grandmother. And I tell you this because as I try to humanize this incredible, incredible issue that's so dear to us, because Palestine will always be my true mother, who raised me and who taught me so much. And I can tell you, I'm asking you all to carry me with you, though. Because yes, صورتوا معي اليوم رفعت راسكم and you're so happy فرحانين. But in 8 months, I have to run again, and I have a bullseye target on my back. And I want you to know that this is the time for you to lift me up with you. And I don't just mean money, but I also mean speaking up more, talking more about this in a way that is around human rights, that is way about the core values of who we are as a country. We can't be silent anymore, but we can do it in a way that is from a place of love. And Jack, from a place of love, people will hear us. And as I move forward and as I talk to people, even in my district who want to learn more, it is so opens my heart every single time that more and more people are wanting to learn more about this issue now. Because now, not only my sister Ilhan and I, but so many other members of Congress want to learn now more about this. And so thank you all so much. Thank you for inviting me to this place.